Hey everybody, Sterling R. Jackson. I want to talk today about pitch problems and an exercise that I like to use with my students to help with pitch problems. Alright, so first off, pitch problems are relatively common, and a lot of people, are born with those issues. It's a problem of kind of not aligning with the music, and it's, there's a lot of different things I could say about it, but it can be difficult to overcome. It depends on the severity of the situation. So if you're singing something and it's off key, even your own mother is not really going to want to hear you sing. It's that bad. So, you might have to put in more work than some other people, but this musical part of the brain, some people have that lit up more, and then some people have other parts lit up more. If you want to think about those things for a second, some people might have this calculus math part of their brain, and that's lit up like the sun, but then their social skills really suck, and that's because all the energy got diverted to that one part, and then the other side of their brain on the other side, it's dark. Same thing with music and the musicality and the musical language and everything like that. Some people that are musical can mimic accents and can mimic notation and can do all these different things, and so you might just fall, like everything else, on a spectrum somewhere. But if you fall somewhere where you have trouble aligning and figuring out where your pitch needs to be, like I said, you might have to put in a little bit more work, but I want to talk about it first based on my experience with music. So I am an untrained musician, untrained professional musician, mix engineer, recording engineer, composer, singer, guitarist, songwriter, all this shit. And everything I do is based on feeling. Everything. I just finished my first film score. How did I do that without knowing how to do anything and notation-wise or whatever? I do it based on feeling. How does singing work? It works based on feeling. How does finding the right note work? It's some kind of an interwoven ability to know, but it's also based on feeling. So, simple enough, if I take something like this, if I sing that same note, and it's dead on, or it's close enough, it will be, the waveforms will be working together and moving together like this. The second I move off of that, the waveforms kind of bounce off of each other and they kind of run into each other, and it feels almost kind of sickening. That's why hearing somebody sing off key can make you literally kind of like, because you're actually hearing the notes just not sync up correctly, and it's a feeling thing. You don't have to know anything about music to be like, this is unpleasant. So if I go and I slowly move off key, you can kind of feel that. You might not be able to feel it through an iPhone or whatever, but still, if you sit down and do it, or do it with somebody else where they sing the same note, you sing the same note, and then somebody moves off key, it just sucks. So, what can we do to start correcting that, or to try to go about correcting that? Like I said, first of all, people that have pitch issues might need to use more scales. They might need to practice these things more often to overcome them. But here's an exercise I like to use, and as always, I like to start out some of these lessons on YouTube here, and then I like to take them over to Patreon. So if you want to join me on Patreon, I think it's like $10 a month. You'll always see these extended lessons and more in-depth, things and all kinds of stuff. I also do music mixing and writing and all that kind of stuff too. So I appreciate it if you support. I appreciate you being here, supporting. Supporting is great. So we're going to start down here. What we're going to do is we're going to cover the root note, the third note, and the fifth note. Now I know these things, little by little, because I've been doing this stuff over and over and then over again, and then when I stopped doing it, I decided I should do it over again, and then when I didn't do it over, I did it over again. And here we are. So, we got a root note. In this case, it's a C. When we go, that's a third. See how I got there? 1, 2, 3. Then if we go to here, it would be a fourth. Then it'd be a fifth, etc. Sixth, seventh, and an octave. So, a chord is usually comprised of a root note, a third note, and a fifth note, arranged in different orders. It doesn't matter. But there's usually a root note, a third note, and a fifth note. Harmonies are usually comprised of a third note and a fifth note above the root note. They do different things, but that's usually what comprises a harmony, or how a harmony tends to work. So, when we take something like a chord, or we take something like this simple triad, 3, try it. Try, get it? We're gonna sing the root note first, then we're gonna rise, we're gonna slide to the 3rd and to the 5th. This is a feeling-based exercise, so you're going to feel when it seems to get to the right place, and then move on to the 5th. I'm going to start out by giving you the notes, and I'm going to pick all different places, and if you're a male and you can't sing this high or whatever, use falsetto, it doesn't really matter, because I want everybody to be able to engage with this, not just dudes with voices like mine. So we'll start out moving higher. Like I said, we're sliding. We're not just trying to go da, ah, ah. We're trying to go and find those based on the way it feels. Then I'm going to start giving you just the chord. Then I'm going to start giving you just the root note, randomly picked, and it's your job to move to that 3rd and to move to that 5th, and you will get better at it if you start out and you really suck at it. So, ready? We're going to do it like this first. Let's do a slow one. How about down here? Couple more. Way up here. Now I'll start just giving you the chord. I'll do a couple with you and then I will shut my face. Now why are we sliding? We're sliding because you should be covering those other notes so that you can feel like a spectrum where you should be landing. I know you can get better at it, and I know we can all go heh, heh, heh. I know that, but it's about feeling. And this is for people that have pitch issues. So sliding till you feel that resonance, just like tuning a guitar when you have 2 strings that are out and you slowly turn it up, you should feel when those things come into sync. It should be based on the way that it feels. Ready? So, the chord now. Let's try. Ooh. How about way up here? Ooh. Now just the root note. Randomly picked notes. I recognize how weird this video is if you're not actually engaging and make any noise. You're just watching a guy sit and press notes on a keyboard. Keep the faith, it's working. Let's try one more thing, just for a couple of these notes before I go over to the Patreons. Just try adding an octave in there. Do you know what an octave is? If we have a C here, I don't know, you can't really see my piano, but the keys on a keyboard just continue to go like this. So we don't have like a bunch of different keys. We have the same thing repeating. So if we have a C here, we have a C here, we have a C here. Those are octaves, so they're just an octave apart. So somebody that would sing something down here, ma ma ma, can sing something up here, and it's exactly the same. It's not a harmony, by the way. It's not harmonizing to sing something an octave above or below. It might sound harmonious in some way, but it's literally the same thing, just an octave apart. So ma ma ma, ma 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 is the same exact thing. Make sense? So if we have an octave, we have a root, 3rd, 5th, and an octave. How about this? Last one. All right, so on Patreon, I'm going to cover minor notes and changing that 3rd note. To make a minor note, we take the 3rd note, just this 3rd note, and we move it a half step down each time. That's what makes it minor. sadness, regret, depression, happiness. So we're going to cover some of that. I appreciate you joining me. I hope this helps a little bit. Remember, just keep putting in the practice. If there's something that really means something to you, you will get there eventually. You just have to have patience, and you got to believe in yourself. All right, thank you. You cannot think your way to these notes. You cannot stop and put a break and put a gap between the process of trying to feel these notes and trying to spit them out of your head. I try to tell that to people all the time, and I can always tell when somebody's like, wait a minute, I gotta think about this. No, you don't. That will probably make it worse. You cannot think your way to doing this better. It is based on feeling. It is a bodily sensation, essentially. So if I go, you'll get better at it as you do it, but you cannot be like, oh, that's higher, it should be. You can't. You're putting another gap between the process and the execution of it. So keep that in mind if you're one of these overthinkers like me that can't sleep at night because you're thinking about everything in the world all the time. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you soon.